Hello guys, welcome to session 4 of Object-Oriented ABAP series. Today I'm going to discuss class area and instance area. So as you can see in picture, there is static area and there is instance area, and if so you know that we can create multiple object of class. So all the objects reside inside instance area, and if you have defined some static members in a class, then those will reside in static area. So let's quickly jump to the code, and we'll understand the concept. So if you see in a code, I have defined one class where I have defined two section, which one is public section, another is private section. So we can define variables and methods in a class. So for defining method, we can use data, and we also can use class data. Likewise, we can also define method, and for we can also use class method keyword for defining method. But what is the difference? So let's understand. So if I am adding this class keyword, whether before data or method, it means I'm going to declare or define static method or variable. So as you can see in comment, so this all the variables defined using keyword class data are the static variable. Okay, so you can also say these are the class variables. So those will reside in static area or class area. Okay, if you are defining variable using only data keyword, it will reside inside instance area or object area. So and you can call this variable instance variable. Okay, likewise you can also define method, and means which can be static and instance method. Okay, so same principle, instance method reside in object area or instance area, static method reside in static area or class area. And same thing happens when for every section, whether it doesn't matter which section it is. So it could be public, private, and protected, and concept goes same way. Okay, so let's take a look at the figure. So there is arrow keyword I have mentioned. So I just wanted to explain how the relationship works between static area and instance area. Okay, so all the means static members of a class can be used inside instance area, but vice versa not true. Okay, so let's prove it using code. So I'm again I'm again coming back to the code, and I'll see if static members can be used inside instance method. So let's let's try to use lv underscore v1 static variable inside instance method, which is m3 underscore ia. So okay, so I already implemented m3 underscore ia. So let's try to use a static variable here. Okay, so first I'm going to assign value to lv underscore v1 equal to 3. Okay, this is static variable. Okay, so now I just want to print the value of lv underscore v1 also. Okay, so let's do the code check and see if it is allowed or not. If you see, there is no syntax error. Okay, so it means uh, static variable or static method can be used inside instance method. Okay, so static area, uh, from the instance area you can use you can access a static member of the class. Okay, so likewise you can also call instance method. Let's search. This is the instance method, which is m4 underscore sa. Okay, so let's call m4 underscore sa inside instance method. Okay, so SA means static. Okay, and IA means I just use this name, this kind of naming convention to just see which method is instance and which method is static. So let's do the code check now, and there is no syntax error. So static method can be used inside uh, instance method. Okay, so I have proven that instance inside instance method we can use static member, whether it is variable or method. Okay, and let's test vice versa. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use instance variable or method in static method. Okay, so if you see here SA m1 underscore SA, so it uh, using like this is static area method. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to call m3 underscore IA inside m1 underscore SA. So let's do the code check, and if you see here there is one error. Only static method can be declared uh, using sort within static method. Okay, so this the calling of instance method is not allowed is inside static method. Okay, so if you try to use this variable also, which is instance method, inside a static method, you can't do that. Okay, let's do the code check again, and you are getting a error again. Okay, so this is not allowed. Okay, so here I'll mention comment not allowed. Okay, and it is allowed. Okay, and what is the reason behind this? So when you try to access any method of class or variable of class, so creation of static area is must, but creation of object is not necessary. So you could just try to access static variable, or if you even try to create object, static area will be allocated in a memory, but object area assigned object area created in a memory when you create object of that class. Okay, so uh, there is no certainty that one will create object of this of that class. That's why if you use instance method or instance member of the class inside static area, it won't um, the compiler would not be able to recognize the instance, because there can be multiple instance at one time. Okay, so there is ambiguity, there would be ambiguity. That's why compiler will give or throw the error. Okay, so now this relationship, how it can be useful for us. Okay, so uh, um, I have one requirement. Okay, so I have defined this class. Now I want that the object of this class should means the number of objects of this class at one time on can only be 2, not more than 2. Okay, so I want to restrict at a certain amount of time there can be only 2 objects. Okay, in a memory, in an instance area. So how to do that? With the help of static members, I can do that, because whatever values are or variables are present in static area, the values of those members are always same. It does not depends on the object creation, like instance members. Okay, so instance variable value depends on the instance of object, but value of static members does not depends on the object. Okay, so if I have assigned the value of I have assigned one value to lv underscore v1 variable. It doesn't matter how many objects you create. This is going to, if you are not changing the variable value, it is going to be same always, whether uh, you access lv underscore v1 from object 1 or 2 or object n. This value is never going to be changed. Okay, so instance static variable values does not depend on instance of class. Okay, so this concept I am going to use for my requirement, which will limit uh, the number of objects at particular time. Okay, so my requirement is I just want to create only two objects of the class at part at a at a time. Okay, so so what I have done, I have used static variable which is private. Okay, so I have declared using class data uh, keyword, and I have assigned value 1. Okay, and why I have done private? Because no one can modify this value because from the outside of the class actually. Okay, so as you know, private attribute can't be modified outside of the class, so that's why I have declared this value as a private. Okay, so and I have defined constructor also. So what constructor does, it whenever whenever we create the object, constructor gets called. Okay, so so what I'm doing, if the value of object is greater than 2, I'm throwing exception. Okay, and if it is not, I am incrementing the value of lv underscore object, and I'm creating output that object number is created. Okay, so let's see in a action. Okay, so now I am running the now let me come to this section of the program. After start of selection, I'm trying to create lo underscore object 1, lo underscore object 2, lo underscore object 3 and 4. So uh, uh, so as per expectation, only object 1 and 2 should be created. 3 or 4, so 3 and 4 won't be created. Okay, so because I'm raising exception in constructor, so I also need to catch that exception. So that's why I use try and catch block. Okay, okay, so now we will see this in debug mode. Okay, so I'm just placing breakpoint. So let me activate this code. I just paste the breakpoint. Okay, so now debugging session is open. So program is going to create first object of this class. So let's press F5 and see what is happening. This constructor is being called, and it will see this value of this static variable is 1. So it will come here in else condition, and it will increment the value of object 1, which is now 2, and object is created. Okay, if you see here now, this lv underscore object is bound. Okay, same way now program is going to create object 2. So same thing. So now lv underscore object value is 2, which is equal to 2. So this condition is not going to be satisfied. So it will also it will come at in else part, and it will increment the value of lv underscore object, and this is going to create this object 2 is created now. So at a there are two objects of this class. Now when I'm trying to create third object, it should not be created. Let's see. So well this variable value is 3 now, so which is greater than 2, and it will write that object can't be created and it will raise exception. Okay, so now exception is raised, and if you see here object 3, it is not bound. Okay, so this is just a variable, it is not the the instance of class is not assigned to this reference variable. And why object 2 is not why because exception comes, right? So the control didn't control haven't gone to this statement, so it automatically jumps to catch block. Okay, and it will execute write statement. And if you see here, object 2 is created. Why? Because I am incrementing the lv underscore object first, and that's why it is saying object 2 and 3 created, but indeed only two objects are created, and third object it is saying that it object can't be created and exception occurred. So let me rectify this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll not increment first, I'll increment after this statement. So now let's run again. So now if we see, it is saying object 1 is created, object 2 is created. If it means when I'm trying to create object 3, it is saying can't be created, and constructor is raising exception. So I also caught exception. So this is the message for that, and it didn't go for creation of object 4 because exception occurred. Okay, so if we want to check here, so let's move this uh, code outside of this block, try and catch block. Okay, so we need to use try and catch block again for this, because this in fact this is going to throw another exception. Okay, so we need to also catch. So let's activate, and one more modification I'm going to do. I'll add this variable. Okay, okay, now let's run this code again. Now if you see, why, okay, because I'm not incrementing here. Let's just do, let's increment. Okay, but that is wrong, we should not increment. So if it is like, see here, object 1 is created, 2 is created, object 3 can't be created, exception, we caught exception. Here also when we try to create object 4, also it is saying object 3 can't be created. It because when exception occurred, it is not incrementing the that variable value, and it is saying exception occurred. Okay, so let's try to increment. Okay, so now it is correct. So object 1 is created, 2 is created, 3 can't be created, and 4 can't be created. Okay, so this is possible using a static variable. Okay, but we could not use we could not achieve the same functionality using instance variable, because every time when we will create instance, uh, i- this would initialize with the new value. Okay, so how much we increment, it doesn't matter. So whenever we create object, this value would always be reassigned with this value. Okay, because uh, instance variable last means the value of instance variable depends on its object. Okay, so so that's why we use static variable, because the value is whenever the value of this variable is going to be persisted, so it will reside in static area. So so the value of this variable does not depend on object creation. So that's why we use this variable to restrict the number of object of this class. I hope you like this video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Thank you.